All right, welcome to Fibromyalgia Solutions. This is one of the most unique diseases that you could imagine. Because imagine if that you had a disease with basically no test that's available that shows that you have it. Now, when we look at this, fibromyalgia, here I'm having a little technical difficulty with this. We're going to go over the solutions. Now, there's three main solutions that you first got to do when you're solving fibromyalgia. Now, the disease state, and we got to look at a disease, has a dis-ease. First, we have to change your mindset and perception, because if you have an idea that the disease cannot be cured, that it's absolutely incurable, then your body is not going to be able to recover, because, you know, as you think, it is there. So we're going to absolutely go over how to change your mindset and change your perception. Also, we're going to talk about how to regenerate a healthy body, because if you've had this disease, this incurable disease, for years, you're actually going to start to see that tissue is going to start to break down. You're going to have gastrointestinal problems, you're going to have joint problems, you're going to have memory problems, everything. And then I'm going to show you, once you develop a healthy body, once you've recovered from this disease, how to live and maintain within the biologic laws. Now, these are the causes of fibromyalgia. There's only three: trauma, toxicity, or thought. You could also look at trauma as a physical stressor, and toxicity as a chemical stressor, and thought as an emotional stressor. The difference between these three is very, very subtle, because your body reacts the same to trauma, toxicity, and thought. I mean, a trauma, it could be from a twisting or misalignment of the spine, or auto accident, or fall. Or it could be virtually past surgery. And this is what a lot of people are saying begins the onset of fibromyalgia. Toxicity, this is poisonous food, toxic environment, medications. And thought, this is emotional upset in your perception of the environment. So this is huge. Now, what I love this, if a mind misinterprets environmental signals and generates an inappropriate response, it could be lethal enough to undermine an entire system. Now, when we look at this, change your mindset. This is the first step in healing fibromyalgia. If you believe, okay, or have this belief system, and I know it's tough to think, look, it's not a belief system. I wake up, my joints hurt. Okay, you know, I'm not drawing this into me. Well, you do have the symptoms. You do have the pain. There's two ways to look at it. One way is that you're a victim, that you're absolutely affected with it, that this came from outside forces that's just attacking you. And the best you can do is to fight back to those outside forces, or take something to deal with the chemicals, or deal with the symptoms. However, I'm going to show you how to empower yourself, how to reverse this process, absolutely reverse this process. My favorite quote from Franklin Roosevelt: "Men are not prisoners of fate, but only prisoners of their own mind." And it's absolutely true. Now, the old school thinking is that disease came from bad luck or bad genes. That's it, bad luck or bad genes. And that's absolutely not true. When you look at this, health and sickness all come from a cellular level. Now, this means your body is a collection of cells, and health and disease begin at the cellular level. So I'm going to show you how fibromyalgia, this devastating disease that's affecting over 1 million people in Southern California, how it comes to fruition, how it happens. Well, first off, inside of the DNA or inside of the nucleus is DNA. And DNA controls what type of proteins are produced. Kind of. That's what we used to think. That's the old school thinking. See, if your cell produces one type of protein, that can cause cancer. If your cell produces a different type of protein, it can reverse cancer. So your cells, the type of proteins, and this is what type of proteins they produce, this absolutely indicates what type of health you're going to achieve. If you're going to be healthy or if you're going to be sick. So it has to do with the type of proteins that those cells produce. This is everything. The new science is biology of perception. So the cells, your health is dependent on the health of the cells, absolutely. Your ability to reverse fibromyalgia absolutely is dependent on the health of your cells. And so we have to find out how to change your cell production or cell protein production. The facts now are your perception of your environment, not just what's happening to your environment, your absolute perception of the environment changes cell function. Now, you change cell function, you change cell expression, you change expression, you change genetic expression. This is everything. You change your health. What this means is every family member that you've had, it has gotten fibromyalgia. You do not need to express that gene. Diseases, you're talking 3% are genetic. Cancer is not genetic. Diabetes isn't genetic. Fibromyalgia is not genetic. You choose to express those genes, and I'm going to show you how to do it. There's a control above the genes. It's called epigenetic control, and this is where all healing begins. All healing begins at the cellular level, and thought controls the cells. This is vital. Your perception of the environment. That means if you're perceiving your brain and body as healthy, you're going to start to produce healthy proteins. If you perceive danger and fear and death and disease, you're going to produce those appropriate proteins for that environmental stimulus. What that means is if you're experiencing joy and love and happiness, your cells are going to produce totally different proteins. So how do we, I want you to own this. This is more important than anything. Everybody knows what a placebo is. A placebo comes from the root word to please. And in most medical procedures, they're going to utilize what are called placebos. And these are a sham medical procedure. It's like an innocuous substance that you give the patient. You say, look, this is a pain reliever, this is a high blood pressure drug, or this is an antacid. And what's amazing is between 20 and 40% of the time, the patient who gets this pill that has no effect, actually their body produces the effect. Now, what's amazing with this is their thoughts are producing this. So if you give somebody a placebo and you tell them that it's a pain reliever, their body is going to produce a pain reliever 40 times more powerful than heroin. If you give them a placebo and say this is a high blood pressure drug, the body produces an entirely different drug, like a beta blocker, something to literally slow the heart down. If you tell them it's an antacid, we can literally go in and measure that there's decreased acid in the stomach. So it turns that into an H2 receptor blocker. I mean, a totally different molecule. And this is all based on perception. What most people don't know is about the nocebo effect. See, if a placebo can produce certain chemicals in your body that are going to have a radically different effect, a nocebo is like the evil twin. Negative thoughts or beliefs can cause an illness. If you've been exposed to a toxic condition, it can manifest the undesired realities of those thoughts. This means you can think yourself healthy and think yourself sick. Because remember, there's only 3 causes of fibromyalgia: toxicity, trauma, and thought. Toxicity, trauma, and thought. We're going to cover thought first because we got to correct it. This study I thought was brilliant, and they took a group of Japanese kids that were all allergic to poison ivy, and they rubbed poison ivy on one arm, and they rubbed a plant just for a placebo on the other arm. Okay, so now what's amazing is all the kids, when they developed the rash, okay, the poison ivy on the arm that had the poison ivy leaf rubbed on, and the other arm didn't have a rash. What they didn't tell the kids or the researchers was that they switched the leaves. So here you have these kids that have this hypersensitivity to poison ivy. They actually had to secrete a histamine response to develop a rash on a plant that they weren't allergic to, and they had to secrete antihistamines in their blood to not develop a reaction to the leaf that everybody knew that they were allergic to. So they had to do the opposite effect, and they did it just with their mind. So if you can control a skin reaction, an allergic reaction, just with your mind, is the mind important for causing it? First off, in this, I want you to understand, disease is a belief system. Did you cause fibromyalgia? Well, I got to tell you, no, you didn't. You did not personally cause fibromyalgia. And also, I got to tell you, yes, you did. Because remember, trauma, toxicity, and thought. Fibromyalgia, these are belief systems. Like when you look at Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis. What does fibromyalgia weigh? What's the shape of it? What does it look like? Okay, they're not diseases. They're the body adapting to trauma, toxicity, or toxic thought. Disease doesn't really exist. It's just the body adapting to environmental stressors or stimulus. So in order to correct fibromyalgia, we have to change our mind first. Now, Napoleon Hill wrote a brilliant book, Think and Grow Rich, but he was mentored by Andrew Carnegie, one of the most brilliant minds of our time. And there's a couple of YouTube videos that I encourage you to watch on Napoleon Hill about taking control of your mind. Now, Andrew Carnegie said there's benefits for taking control of your mind, and there's penalties if you don't take control of your mind. See, you can take control of your mind and focus it to whatever desire you want, but you have to take control of your mind. Too many people are taking this approach, this passive approach, and they're not developing their mind. They may go to the gym and work out their muscles. They may, work out their mind by reading a book, but they don't focus it and control it. The 6 things that you're absolutely guaranteed to get if you take control of your mind. Number 1, sound health. Number 2, peace of mind. Number 3, a labor of love of your choosing. Number 3, if you take control of your mind, you get freedom from worry and doubt and fear. Number 5, you get a positive mental attitude. And number 6, you get material riches of your choosing. Now, according to Napoleon Hill, and this makes sense, penalties if you don't take control of your mind. This means if you're just like a sheeple, you're being programmed by the TV set, you're totally disempowered, you're not realizing that there's a vital force energy that flows through you, around your life, into your body, and actually creates health and wealth and abundance. Penalties if you don't take control of your mind. Number 1, poor health. Number 2, you get fear and worry. Number 3, indecision and doubt. Number 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. And 6, envy, greed, hatred, superstition. Those are the penalties you get if you don't take control of your mind. Now, I'm going to show you how to take control of your mind, because when we're healing fibromyalgia, you don't just heal fibromyalgia, the disease. You got to heal every aspect of your life. You're not going to have a healthy body if you have horrible relationships. You're not going to have horrible relationships and achieve a healthy body. You're not going to have an unsuccessful, debt-ridden, fearful life and be able to achieve health. So we have to change your entire life in order to reverse disease. And I'm going to show you how that's possible. First off, when we look at this, the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, we've got to learn how to program the unconscious mind. This is 88% of the mind. This is what gets the job done. It handles all the functions. I'm going to show you how to program it. It's kind of like the conscious mind is the boat. The unconscious mind is the rudder. This is what steers that boat through the water. So we're going to go over how to program it. First out, you have to list goals. And I've got a list of goals here, and they're some of the greatest, but it's not writing down the goal. It's writing down the why behind the goal. The why, it's a must. So when you write down health, it's not healthier, pain-free life. No. It's why do you want that? What's the why behind it? Do you want to walk every day so you can play with your grandkids, or so that you can run a marathon someday? Do you want to go back to hiking so you can see the birds and smell the pine trees? Why is health a must? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it when you get health? So the why behind it is the driving force. This is what's going to stimulate that cell production. It's going to stimulate that protein production in your body to achieve this. Fun and recreation. Why is it a must that you achieve the goals for fun and recreation? Why? And what are you going to do with it? Does it rejuvenate your body? Does it get you a better connection with your family and friends? Money. Why is financing? Why achieving your financial goals? Why is it a must? Is it because that you want more money to be more philanthropic, to not just pay bills, but to have abundance so you can help your kids, and your family, and your friends? Why is family and friends? Why is achieving a goal in that direction vital and important? Partner and romance. Why is a romantic partner a must? Why do you need that aspect? Do you know the old Swedish proverb, shared joy is double joy, shared sorrow is half sorrow? And then when you look at it, personal and spiritual growth, career, physical environment, long-term goals, that it's a vital. When you're doing your goals, write down the top 3 goals in each category, and under each goal, list the actions that you're going to do it. Now, I'm also going to tell you some more ways that you can do it. One of my favorite ways is to build a vision board. And this is one of the ways that you can build it, because remember, you're recovering from a disease that most people think is incurable, fibromyalgia. So first, we have to have you develop the belief system that those doctors were wrong, that not only is it curable, but it's curable quickly. And that's what we found in my practice. So you need to build a vision board. You need to develop goals. You need to change your mindset, primary. Now, the layout of this vision board, you'll see those a wealth corner, a family corner, wisdom, relationship, success, travel, and health, dead center. Well, the old way we would do a vision board is to get magazines and cut it out and paste it. I don't know about you, but I only subscribe to like 2 magazines, okay, and get most of my information off the web. So what I want you to do, you're going to get these, and you're going to go to Google Web. And here's an example of mine. This is the one in the travel section. Now go to Google Web, go to the images, and type in anything that you want. This is actually off of my vision board from last year. What do I want to do? I want to see Greece. I want to go sailing. I want to go scuba diving. I want to travel the Wild West. I mean, just pick up travel. Wisdom. Get the people that you like their philosophy. And you can see on my wisdom picture, they don't have to be real. They don't have to be alive. Okay, these are just people who have focus, intent. I honor their ideals and their view of life. And so when you look at this, be creative when you're doing your vision board. Also, what I want you to do, I want you to rate yourself honestly. These are called wheels of life. And what you do to have a healthy, complete life, and remember, you're healing from fibromyalgia. In order to heal completely, you've got to heal every aspect of your life. You're not going to have a healthy physical body and have horrible relationships. You're not going to have a healthy physical body and have unhealthy physical environment or finances. So we want to heal every aspect of it. And so the theory behind this is you're going to take this wheel and you're going to mark down a line where you think that you are. And you'll see the one on the right is already marked. So this person here, they evidently have some good health, and they have horrible romance and partners. Okay, they have a reasonable relationship with their friends. So you mark the line. The further out on the ring is where you have it down. So this person has a good health, good career. They play a lot. They study a lot. But financial, they're doing okay. But partner and romance and family and friends, they need to work on. So do this. Be honest about this, because what I'm telling you right now, you write down this wheel, you rate yourself, and after you program your subconscious, after you build your vision board, after you do the exercises that I'm going to be describing further on in this talk, your wheel is going to be round, baby. And your wheel round, that's going to affect your life. First off, in order to change health on a cellular level, you have to begin with communication with yourself. Now, when you're communicating with others, this is vital that you go at it completely different than what you normally would. I mean, words are just 7% of your communication. Voice qualities, like when it increases and decreases in tone and inflection, that's nearly 40% of your communication. Physiology, this is movement of your body, movement of your breathing, your body posture. That's 55%. And it's the same thing when you're communicating with yourself. See, you have to change your self-talk. If you realize that you're in a sick body, in a sick world, and in just there's devastating negative relationships, if you think that this is your reality, it's absolutely not true. Because when we look at this, self-talk, if you change your story, you change your life. If you wake up in the mirror and you go, oh man, I'm fat, I'm out of shape, I'm too skinny, I'm weak, I'm frail, I am is incredibly powerful. This is why you build the vision board. This is why you get the goals for health. This is how you change that toxic thought that was part of the procedure that brought you into fibromyalgia. This is how you begin to change it. I am healthy. I am dynamic. I am spectacular. I am loved. I am living in a world of abundance. You also are going to change how you view other people. If you look at somebody that has a suit and has a stuck-up attitude that you would think, you know, they're quiet. If you say he, she, or it, you know, they're stuck up, they're aloof, they're not. How is that going to affect your communication with that person? It's going to radically prejudice it. You're not going to be able to connect with them. But if you start looking at it, and here's the trick: if you see a bum on the street, okay, some street person, some homeless person, you say, "Oh man, he is so out of it. He's such a bum. He's this, he's that." Okay, how is that going to prejudice your relationship with that person? Knowing that that person is human just like you. They had a mother and a dad just like you. They've had some challenges in life, and this is where they are. So what I want you to do is next time you approach somebody with a prejudice, that you catch yourself, and instead of he's selfish, he's a bum, he's stuck up, change it with I am. And this is going to radically open up your heart to connect with that person, so you're not going to be approaching them with a prejudice. So this way you're going to drop your prejudices of other people. You're going to feel more connected with society. When you feel more connected with society and other people around you, you're going to start to develop this love and abundance and joy. Everything. I mean, when you look at what teenagers that go in and they say, I suck at everything I do. I mean, that imprints on your subconscious. It's going to absolutely affect cellular change and cell protein production. This is going to bring toxic thoughts to those kids. I mean, how many kids have acne because of toxic thoughts? Acne is acidic blood. Acidic blood comes from acidic thoughts or acidic lifestyles. I mean, this would radically alter someone's self-esteem. This is where you start healing. So I'm giving you all the tools to change your perception. First thing you've got to do is to forgive yourself and forgive others. And I know this sounds crazy, but remember, your mind controls your chemistry. It literally is going to control cell production. So you have to forgive. Forgive your spouse or your past relationships. Forgive your partner. Forgive yourself, and give up resentment. Give up that aspect of holding on to it. There's an old story of where two monks are walking along this narrow mountain road, and the older monk and a young monk. The old monk is very famous and wise, and they're walking along the road. All of a sudden, this soldier comes around the road, driving way fast and way reckless, and his horse rears up, and he yells and hurls insults at the two monks for them walking, and he rides on. And of course, the old monk was apologizing, and the young monk was very upset. Well, they keep walking on the mountain road and time goes by, a few hours goes by. Finally, the young man says, "Master, I can't stand it. How come you didn't yell or get upset with that soldier? He was in the wrong. He was totally in the wrong. How come you didn't do that?" And the old wise one looked at the young monk and said, "You must be very tired. You've carried that resentment and frustration this whole way. I left it back there." So carrying that resentment and frustration, it acidifies and toxifies your blood. And then you have to develop love. Love of self, love of others, love of animals and plants. See, you don't need to just, when I talk about developing love, I'm not talking about just developing an outside relationship. That can cause challenges, because what if that person stops loving you? There's going to be some type of challenge with relationships. Trust me, I know. Okay, but when you develop self-love, love of others, love of everyone on the planet, when you get that connection, you can develop self-love by driving down the road and looking at a beautiful sunset, or looking at kids, playing in the field, or watching dancers, or just looking at green fields. I mean, looking at animals play. Developing love, that feeling of love and connection and joy, are incredible. Also, focus on who you are. If you're reading the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, they all say that you're made in the image and likeness of God. So if you focus on yourself, by gosh, you walk by a mirror, you look in there and you smile, because you're more energy than matter. Emotional generosity. What I mean by this, by giving forgiveness, you're giving forgiveness. It benefits the giver and the receiver. This is being emotionally generous. Okay, forgiveness is unconditional. There's an old saying that says, "You have truly forgiven when you forgot that you forgave." Yeah, say that 3 times really fast. Okay, you have truly forgiven when you forgot you forgave. So forgiveness is unconditional. You can come up to a past relationship and say, "Hey, look, I forgive your actions for what you did," and the person may not receive it. They might come back at you with anger and frustration and just this irritatingness. It doesn't matter, because you're the one giving it. Forgiveness benefits the giver and receiver. It reframes the relationship with yourself. Yes, you have a relationship with yourself. Things that you do for yourself, that's a loving event, joyous event. I mean, I'm not talking giving yourself a foot massage, but it could be. It could be giving yourself a bath with candles if you like it. Heck, it could be going to the gym. It could be making yourself a healthy meal. Develop a relationship with yourself. And test yourself with the statement, "I love myself." And this is one of the most beautiful things that you could do. If you wake up in the morning, you saunter off to the bathroom, you turn on the light, you brush your teeth, you look in the mirror, the first thing I want you to say is, "I love myself." And what does this do to cell production? What does this do to your insides? What does this do to serotonin production? It's amazing. Forgiving yourself, it gives a gentleness towards you and your others. Your mind controls your chemistry. Your mind controls your chemistry. Don't beat yourself up for stuff in the past. You are perfectly imperfect. You are. And then I want you to write down affirmations and incantations. The power of I am. I cannot tell you at how important this is. I am dynamic. I am healthy. I am powerful. I am loved. I am. Use this in every incantation and affirmation. Be positive. You never write down, I want less pills. I want less pain. Nope, none of that. You're gonna be writing down, I want dynamic strength. I am dynamic strength. I am healthy joints. I am renewing my blood. I am reversing disease. And you've got to write them down. Personalize them with your name and get it going. And this one here, this is 100 things to do, be, and become. And this is vital because this gives you a map. And when we're talking about disease reversal, and we're talking about diseases of relationships along with fibromyalgia, because you need a healthy every aspect of your life. Write down 100 things to do, be, or become. And I mean, write down stuff that's absolute. Your body literally produces 2 million red blood cells every second. So all you got to put down is, I build 2 million healthy red blood cells every second. And I have a diet 100% organic. I walk 30 minutes a day. I run a marathon. So when you do this, you write down a 1, a 5, or a 10 next to each one of these. If you're stuck in a wheelchair and you can't run a marathon, maybe you want to put a 5-year goal down for running the marathon. If you so write down a 1, a 5, a 10-year immediately by each one of those goals. And that's what you're going to build your vision board on. And then you pick the top 5 of each one, the 1 year, the top 5 of 5 year, the top 5 of 10 years. This is the basis of what you're going to do that vision board with. And you're going to be looking at the vision board in the morning, at night, before you go to bed, when challenges are presented, because this keeps you focused. It keeps you focused on who you are. The problem is, this is the modern healthcare system that you're exposed to. Do any one of these specialists, okay, because this is a mechanistic view, do they view the mind as powerful? Do they view that the body can heal itself? Do they view that the cell can produce its own protein depending on environmental stimulus? And if you change thought, you change cell production? No, they don't. This medical system that you've been exposed to, this is the medical system that you went into that told you had fibromyalgia. It's based on mechanism, not vitalism. The mechanistic view and the vitalistic view, they're two completely opposing biologic philosophies. They cannot coexist. It's impossible to coexist. These guys, this mechanistic view breaks the body up into gastrointestinal tract or cardiovascular or pulmonary system or blood system. You cannot divide the body up into different segments and expect to have a healthy outcome. It's a violation of biologic law. What vitalism is means that there's more that goes on in the body beyond physics, beyond chemistry, that more that goes on than those sciences can describe. And that's what we're finding out. If thought can change protein production, and we know this is a fact, which one of these specialists realizes that? No. The gastroenterologist is not taught nutrition. Now knowing that serotonin, the most powerful feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut, do we send people that are depressed to the gastroenterologist because their serotonin production's low? No, this is a system that's broken. I mean, let's look at the one of the most advanced clinics on the planet, the Mayo Clinic. This is the clinical definition of fibromyalgia. When we look at it, it's a disorder characterized by widespread pain and fatigue and sleep and memory issues. Researchers believe fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations affected by the way the brain processes pain signals. Now listen to this. Remember we talked about the three T's, trauma, toxicity, and thought? They're saying symptoms sometimes begin after a physical trauma, surgery, infection, or psychological stress. They're saying that it came from a trauma or toxic thoughts and psychological thought. They're not saying that an infection, again, toxicity. They're saying that it does come from trauma, toxicity, and thought, but they're not looking at the solutions. If you know where it comes from trauma, it comes from toxicity, it comes from thought, then by gosh, fix the trauma, fix the toxicity, change your perception of reality. Then look further into the definition. Headaches, TMJ, irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression. And listen to this. While there is no cure for fibromyalgia, a variety of medications can help control the symptoms. No wonder there's no cure. They're telling you what causes it, and they're not giving a solution for it. To treat things, to treat symptoms with a medication, to alter physiology with a medication, is a violation of biologic law. Let's look at this. The human animal is an animal that lives on this planet, just like all the other species. It's a biologic law that every generation on this species gets stronger each successive generation. Do you know why that's a law? If you got weaker every generation, your species wouldn't be here. Okay, mastodons, did they get stronger every species? No, they ain't freaking here. Okay, Neanderthal, again, they ain't here, guys. Okay, so each successive generation that's here on the planet now has developed itself to be stronger. Now, less than 3% of all species have genetic diseases. So and I mean one species of caribou, less than 3% of there, so 97% of their births are going to be healthy. Okay, they're only going to have 3% of genetic diseases. And you know how they're lying and they're saying that the reason we're having these diseases is because we're living longer? Well, that's not true either. Human lifespans hasn't changed. They've been nearly constant for about 2,000 years. When you start looking at this, I mean, just look at our founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson lived to 83. Ben Franklin at 84. John Adams made it to 90. I mean, Washington, he was killed by medical care by bleeding to death at a good bleeding for a lung infection at 67. But when you look at this, okay, granted, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and John Adams, they were all health nuts. They ate nothing but organic and healthy and free range. I know. They had to. That was all that was available. Okay, so, and they didn't do any medications. I know. Okay, so when you look at this, now, were these guys vibrant, or were they spending their last 10 years of their life in some rest home? No, they were vibrant and healthy. So we have to look at what like the Mayo Clinic, what the doctors are doing. I mean, is there any species on the planet that will take a pain reliever like a Tylenol or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory? When you take this, it does decrease pain. It destroys cartilage production. I mean, this is a violation of biologic law. If a caribou has a sore leg, you're going to give it healthy nutrition and tell it to heal its own leg. Here's fibromyalgia. This is a before and after x-ray. You can see the one on the left, that the spine and the vertebrae are twisted and bent and torqued. And this means that that person had chronic pain. They were stuck in this fight or flight system. It means their body's growth and repair was depressed. I mean, just horrible. Oh my gosh, look at that. Did you get scared? I was scared. Okay, this you got to understand. You've got two nervous systems. The most important aspect, they're called automatic nervous systems or autonomic. The growth and repair system is suppressed by stress. See, anybody under stress, just like the antelope being chased by the lion, just by the antelope being chased by the lion, they don't want blood going to digestion. So when that antelope is being chased by the lion, the heart rate elevates, the blood pressure elevates, blood sugar elevates, cholesterol elevates, the blood thickens up, immune system is decreased, blood supply to the gut is shut down. Now your body makes 2 million red blood cells every second. What? Did you feel that? Oh, did you feel that? There's another 2 million. Oh, did you feel that? Another 2 million. Oh, did you feel that? Okay, so think of this. If you're making 2 million red blood cells every second, and that's vital for your growth, repair, and immune system and physiologic functions, if you're under stress, you decrease red blood cell production. You not just decrease red blood cell production, you decrease every cell production in the entire body. Okay, so this means the gastrointestinal tract isn't going to be working right. If you're under chronic stress, does this mean the heart rate, the blood pressure, the blood sugar, the cholesterol are going to be chronically elevated? Yes or yes? Absolutely. Does this mean that under stress or your perception of environmental stress, just what we were talking about earlier, how your perception changes protein production? Yes, it does. If you perceive a stressful environment, are you going to have more blood sugar produced? Yes or yes? Absolutely. If you perceive a stressful environment, are you going to have decreased blood supply to the gut and decreased immune system function? Changing your perception of the environment will stimulate growth and repair. The only way to recover from a disease is to stimulate growth and repair. Absolutely. And this nervous system is vital. When you look at growth and repair, look at all those organs hanging off of the body. Okay, you've got the thyroid, the thymus, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the liver, the spleen. I mean, you got all of these organ systems, and all of them have to grow and repair each day. The tissue is damaged, and then it's regenerated. It's vital if this growth and repair mechanism is decreased. Now, the tough part is, remember we're talking about the 3 T's, trauma, toxicity, and thought? The trauma we're going to cover in just a couple of moments. The toxicity, this means every medication either poisons an enzymes or blocks a receptor site on a cell. So you look at those organs hanging off the body. Tell me which organ is going to function better if we block an enzyme or poison a receptor site to that organ. No, we're going to change its function. We can change lung function with an asthma medication. We can change heart function with a blood pressure medication. We can change stomach function with an antacid or a beta blocker. I mean, an ACE2, H2 inhibitor. But now, will that make the system long-term healthy? No. Let's look at this guy. Does he look straight or does he look bent and twisted off to the side? He's buckled off to the side. His body's in a chronic stress state. Now, let's say that he also had, we got the physical trauma here. We could see that. That's obvious. What if he also had emotional trauma? Then what if he went to a medical system that was based in mechanistic and not vitalistic approach? What would they give him for this stress response that he's having? Would they give him a blood pressure drug? Would they give him an antacid? Would they give him an ACE inhibitor? Would they give him a muscle relaxant? Would they give him a pain reliever? Yes, that's a violation of biologic law. Let's respect the body. And watch this. 1, 2, 3. Bam, baby. Okay, that's restoring the body's health. We get the body to respect itself. We change his thoughts. We change his nutrition. We eliminate the toxicities and eliminate the physical trauma. Does that make more sense? Yes, it does. Here's another patient. This patient did have fibromyalgia. I mean, horrible buckling. But now, can we just correct the physical trauma and expect the person to get better? No. You got to correct the physical trauma. You got to correct the mental and emotional trauma and the mental focus. And then you absolutely got to correct the toxicities. You've got to give that person healthy nutrition. Bam, baby. Wait, let's do that again. Bam, baby. Ow. Ah, isn't that wonderful? This system broken up into the mechanistic viewpoint is not a system conducive to correct fibromyalgia. That's why this system says fibromyalgia is incurable. Why? Because they don't approach the physical trauma, because they don't know how to correct it. They don't know how to correct the chemical imbalances because they're trying to use toxic chemicals to treat. What pulmonologist, hematologist, nephrologist, neurologist, dermatologist, endocrinologist, what one of these doctors treats without using medications? None. And all medications poison an enzyme or block a receptor site. It's approach that will not find a solution. Trauma, toxicity, and thought. Trauma, none of these guys are going to correct it. Toxicity, they're adding more toxicities just to correct the symptoms. And thought, none of them deals with thought. No wonder they say it's incurable. So we need to respect the body's processes. I mean, I love this quote. Voltaire, smart guy, a few hundred years ago. Doctors are men who prescribe medicines of which they know little to cure diseases, which they know less in human beings, which they know nothing. That's true, baby. Okay, so when we look at this, Pain, infection, blood pressure. We look at this. Anybody that has these, they have a chronic stress state. Stressing the body out with more medications isn't going to stress it. I mean, look at this. Remember, cholesterol is elevated in a stress state. The FDA says that if you're given a drug to lower cholesterol, you're talking memory problems, confusion. It raises blood sugar, increases type 2 diabetes. They're not talking about why is the statin or why is the cholesterol increased? What is the problem? Why is the person under chronic stress? Look at this. This is a violation of biologic law. It's insane. And here's one. British Medical Journal. We're talking now, we've got to look at this. If you have fibromyalgia, you more than likely have other diagnoses. This was a meta-analysis, 34,000 people they were looking at. And they're saying if you take a drug, let's say you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and you take a drug to lower your blood glucose, you're taking a drug to lower your blood glucose, so you're checking your blood and you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm healthy. What happens? You reduce your blood sugar by 9%, you have a 19% increase in mortality. Mortality is called death, okay? If you take a drug and you reduce blood glucose by 14%, you get a 43% increase in cardiovascular death. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Find out why the blood sugar's elevated. Prozac. Remember, all antidepressants, they're called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and I know fibromyalgia patients are just inundated with this stuff. They say that it's linked to the uptake of serotonin. They're called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. The mechanism of these drugs is unknown. They don't know how it works. They're just guessing that it affects serotonin. And Prozac has never been studied longer than 13 weeks. But this I love. They put a black box warning. Antidepressants increase the risk of suicide compared to placebos. Suicide behavior in children, adolescents, and young adults. That covers a lot of people. Anyone considering the use of Prozac or another kind of depressant in a child, adolescent, or young adults must balance this risk. I'm sorry, what risk? Wait, let me go back and read that again. My attention span is really short. Suicidal thinking and behavior. Okay, let's go back and read that again. Anyone considering the use of Prozac or any other antidepressant in a child, a young adult, or must balance the clinical risk of suicide with the clinical need. Okay, I put the Hippocratic Oath next to this, and there's just that little part in the middle that says, I will do no harm. I got it. I got a good idea. Let's follow the oath. Don't freaking prescribe it. Okay, so let's look at serotonin. Serotonin is produced in the gut. You're talking about 90% of it's produced in there. I mean, it's brilliant. When we look at what serotonin affects, mood, memory, ability to learn, arousal, aggression, appetite, impulse control, sexual desire, heart function, muscles, endocrine, hormone system. So do you think fibromyalgia has something to do with the gut? Absolutely it does. It's called the enteric brain, the gut system. So in order to fix fibromyalgia, we have to change your perception. Then we have to change gut function. What causes abnormal gut function? These are some of the neurotoxins that cause leaky gut or abnormal gut function. You get leaky gut, look at one of the main causes, fibromyalgia. Again, neurotoxins, genetically modified organisms, antibiotics, poison, and prescription drugs. These leaky gut, and this actually destroys areas in the gut, allows undigested proteins to get into the bloodstream, and this causes systemic inflammation and actually damages the body and leads to these diseases. So what else? Well, first off, let's look at more neurotoxins that we're exposed to so we can find out why fibromyalgia is at epidemic proportions. This is one reason. Okay, now the CDC, and let's just take, not the 81 shots before child 6. Let's just look at one shot, a hepatitis B. Now, this is something that they're actually giving to nurses and doctors who might be exposed to hepatitis. And so the CDC says if you have greater than 10 antibodies per milliliter, that you're protected. Well, what antibody production is is, because you can't really take a vaccine and then throw a bucket of disease over the person and see if they're protected. So what they do is they shoot a vaccine in these people, and then they measure antibody responses. Well, I mean, look at this. Adults, adolescents, and infants, you're talking 2,900, you're talking over 7,000, you're talking over 9,000 antibodies. I mean, this is tremendously huge. So if you have excess antibodies, and an antibody just has two jobs, to attack tissue or attack the hepatitis and then commit suicide. If you have excess antibodies, guess what's going to happen? It could attack brain tissue. That's going to cause cognitive impairment or autism or ADD. It could attack joints. You get rheumatoid arthritis. It could attack the systemic body and cause systemic inflammation, or you get fibromyalgia. And I love the Journal of Autoimmunity. Even though the data regarding the relation between vaccines and autoimmune diseases is conflicting, there's clearly some phenomenon. No kidding. Duh. Okay, I mean, we've known since 1985, molecular mimicry. Again, that the antibodies, once you get that, can attack the body itself. I mean, we need to start rethinking this, because that's a mechanistic view. It's actually leading to the cause of fibromyalgia. When you look at this one here, asthmatic children with flu shots get 3 times the amount of hospitalizations. I cannot tell you how many new patients we get in, because so far we got a 100% success rate curing childhood asthma, that I'm told by the parent that the pediatrician always gives a flu shot because the asthmatic child is more at risk of pneumonia or disease. Well, this study pretty much refutes that stupidness. You don't inject a foreign viral protein into the bloodstream and expect to get a healthy response. So do you think if we have a kid with asthma and we raise them with steroids and then we shoot them with foreign viral proteins, do you think that that might increase their risk of getting fibromyalgia? Absolutely. I'm seeing kids as young as 12 with that diagnosis now. This right here, and you can see, obviously, this is a person standing up straight. Does that look straight? So now, what are the 3 causes of fibromyalgia? Trauma, toxicity, thought. Let's correct the trauma. Let's change her perception of what her environment is. Let's give her hope and healing and tell her that her thoughts can control her well-being and health. Will that change her outcome? Absolutely. Then do we change her toxicity? Do we give her healthy nutrients that her body can digest? Yes or yes? I know, it seems amazingly simple. Posture affects function. So does that mean that this abnormal posture is going to affect function? Absolutely. 90% of your brain's activity is involved in, it's called proprioception. Now here, Roger Sperry, a Nobel Prize winner. If you have abnormal posture, you're going to have abnormal function. Posture is the window to how your body's functioning. And that's one of the reasons that you've got to get to somebody that's skilled in assessing posture. And if you get somebody that's skilled in assessing posture, you can't have them just look at you and say, yeah, your posture's off. You have to make sure that they can correct it. They know how to change proprioception, change neurology, and change your posture. I mean, right here, we're looking at an abnormal posture and a normal posture. I know you work with the person on the left, okay, and this is you on the right. That forward head carriage, you think of the things that come. Remember, 3 causes of fibromyalgia: trauma, toxicity, and thought. Trauma, toxicity, thought. That trauma, that head being forward, is enough to cause part of the fibromyalgia symptoms. This person here, there's an x-ray, reverse curve in the neck. And what do? We're restoring it. We're restoring it. Now, this is after about 3 months of care. You're seeing the body restore itself. I mean, it's invaluable. This was about 4 months of care. And you're seeing the body regenerate itself. In addition to correcting the physical trauma, What else do we do? And I know it sounds like I've got Alzheimer's and I'm repeating myself, but by gosh, I gotta burn it in. You gotta own it. If you realize that you're fixing the trauma, then you're fixing the toxicity through decreasing the medications and eventually eliminating the need for medications and putting healthy materials in you. Because remember, how many red blood cells do you make every second? You make 2 million, baby, 2 million. This right here, this is not somebody that's fat. This is somebody that is exposed to toxicity. See, your body is so brilliant and it's so beautiful. Human animals are one of the few animals that actually have fat underneath their skin. And if your body is exposed to a nutrient-poor, calorie-rich environment, they're taking in these multiple manufactured products. They can't break it down, and since the body doesn't want to lose it, it stores it. So this is a toxic effect of the environment. The people that are allowing corporations to cook for them are getting foods that have a long shelf life. So every time you eat something in a package, that's going to have preservatives in it. If it has preservatives, it makes it unattractive to bacteria. It means that you're not going to be able to digest it. So you have to change your view of looking at food. Food is something that needs to be fresh, free, and organic so your body can metabolize it. This is not fat. This is not obese. This is a poisoning of our population. This is actual food. Do you realize that there's over 10,000 bioactive enzymes in a tomato? There's over 1,000 micronutrients in a broccoli? This is so far beyond. This is beauty incarnate. I mean, Franklin Roosevelt said, a nation that destroys its soils destroys itself. Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air, giving strength to our people. Do you realize that Roundup-ready crops, that the genetically modified stuff, that's spraying multiple pesticides over the land is destroying the soil? Farmers are now suffering, and so we can change this by only buying organic and telling the corporations that we're only going to buy organic. I mean, that's just it. When you look at how many farmers are suffering from this, it's time to take charge. But if you want to change fibromyalgia, we have to change the toxicity. How do we do it? By eating real food. That's the only way, baby. It sounds too simple, but this is true. Anything you do to increase your growth and repair, your growth and repair has to be increased. You have to decrease your breaking down of your body. So the more genetically modified foods, the more medications you take in, the more you're suffering from that trauma and not rebuilding it. The more your body is under stress, your body is breaking down more than it's rebuilding. If your growth and repair mechanism is shut down, you're not going to be reversing disease. This is a simple process, but it's missed. So let's boil it down. These are the keys to recover from fibromyalgia. Number one, the thoughts change chemistry of your body. So you got to change your stressors. Whether you utilize all the tools I just gave you, utilize those tools to build the vision board, to get your vision, to change your perception of reality, to change your self-talk. Use those tools to change your perception. Then the nervous system sends those signals of your perception of the environment to the cells. This means your nervous system, what you perceive, it sends those signals right down to the cells, and that changes protein production. So you got to clear the subluxations. You got to make sure that your nervous system is clear. That's what I do. That actually corrects the physical trauma that is part of the fibromyalgia. And then your body renews and rebuilds itself every day. So you have to give it the correct building materials. Your food that you put in your body has to be fresh, whole, organic. Okay, you have to have, if the planet is 70% water, your body is 70% water, your meals have got to be 70% water. We've got multiple YouTube videos on that. And I mean, the simplest thing to do, and it sounds too simple. It's almost condescending if you've had fibromyalgia for years and been suffering. And I don't mean it that way. I'm with you on this. I love you. Do the opposite of the actions that built the disease. Body, do the opposite. So if your joints are hurting because you haven't been moving them, move them more. If your body's sore because you've been eating packaged food, start eating fresh, whole, and organic. If your joints are sore because you're not walking, start moving more. If you had auto accidents or worked at a desk or something, get your nervous system checked so you can get it redone. Do the opposite of the actions that built the diseased body. It sounds simple, but it's true. This is how your system works. To restore and maintain, got to get your nervous system checked. You got to move your body every day. If man makes it, don't eat it. That's proper nutrition. Sufficient rest, absolutely, every night without the TV on. And when I say prayer and meditation, this is praying to the universal intelligence, to God, the force that created you, that you're more than a collection of organ systems and cells. There is more to you than physics and chemistry can answer. You are a vitalistic person. You change your perception, you change your connection, you're going to change disease rates. Now, I'm so honored that you took time to spend with me on this webinar. And what's amazing when you look at this, the secret of a healthy health for both mind and body is not in the past, not to worry about the future or anticipate troubles, but to live in the moment wisely and earnestly. Buddha, smart guy, sharp guy. I encourage you to go to our website, owners-guide.com, and please subscribe to our YouTube videos below. You'll get the latest ones, the latest updates on it. Okay, so now I'm going to ask some questions. Okay, here's one. How long does it take to heal me? What's surprising is typically you're going to notice differences in 2 weeks to 30 days. Usually it's a little bit sooner. And by healing, what I mean is a difference in symptoms. I know when just the average person, it depends on what your lifestyle is, like how long it took you to get to this point. And so if you've been hurting for years, the old theory is for every year of injury, it takes a month to recover. But I haven't seen that true. If you figure your stomach lining is replaced about every day, your intestinal tract is replaced every day. If you make a radical shift right now, to start doing the meditation, doing the mental exercises, changing your self-talk, you're going to start to feel better almost immediately. If you change your diet immediately, like you go to the cupboard, you take that trash can and you throw away everything in a box or a can, and you go straight to the farmer's market and you eat nothing but healthy, free, organic with healthy oils, healthy fats, you're going to start to feel better immediately. And you don't have to wait long. Typically, it takes me about 90 days to shoot a post x-ray to start to show reversal of arthritis. But you can begin to heal immediately. How long it takes to heal and how long it takes to get your vital force back, it's not dependent on how long you've been injured. It's not dependent on genetics. It's going to happen immediately. To have full recovery, look at this more as not an event. Not like, okay, I've achieved healing, now I'm done, now I can go back to my bad lifestyle. No. Healing is a lifelong process where you're continually going to be rebuilt and renewed. When are you going to be done meditating? When are you going to be done doing goals? When are you going to be done eating healthy? Never. If you take actions with the tools that I gave you in this webinar, you're going to be able to heal and feel results immediately. And I'm talking today. So each individual is going to respond differently. You're looking at immediately as a response. You're looking at within 2 weeks, 50% of the symptoms should be reduced. Within 4 to 6 weeks, about 70 to 80% of the symptoms should be reduced. And that's absolute typical with over 90% of the patients that come to see us. And if you have any questions, you can email me further. Oh, wow, this is great. Is this available on the East Coast? Yes, it is. We actually have 7 questions to find a good chiropractor. I do a lot of speaking engagements on the East Coast and West Coast. Contact us through our website, ownersguide.com, and I'll be able to send you those 7 questions as well as be able to help guide you in your journey to get your system back in line, to eliminate the trauma, the toxicity, and the thought. And here's another question. Do I have a book or a website I can get? Yes, you do. Right here, if you're looking at the website, we've got How to Reverse Arthritis and How to Recover from Fibromyalgia. The How to Recover from Fibromyalgia will be out in the next, it's out now, I think, and you're going to be enjoying it. You can get it through Amazon. It's also available to ownersguide.com. Oh, here's another question. This is a tough one. Why don't medical doctors know this? It's their training. The pharmaceutical industry took over the medical education years ago, and they are promoting a mechanistic viewpoint, and the mechanistic viewpoint is that the body gets diseases and breaks down because it wears down, or bad luck, or bad genes. And the medical doctors are taught that symptoms are bad and that you could treat symptoms with a drug, and that's an appropriate protocols. They're in a mechanistic mindset, okay, which is, and you got to figure vitalism and mechanism have always had their place in time, and currently mechanism is like more popular because it's more profitable. Now, the medical doctors rarely ask the question of why the symptoms are there. They're just taught to deal with the symptoms. And it's why the medical doctors don't know this. It's totally from their education, their mindset, their philosophy. And we can't say medical doctors don't know this, because a lot of doctors do. Dr. Gabriel Cousens wrote the book Cure for Diabetes. Dr. Julian Whitaker wrote the book Cure for Heart Disease. We're looking at Andrew Weil. We're looking at a lot of doctors that are breaking from that mechanistic viewpoint. Deepak Chopra. You're not going to get further, more in-depth than changing your mind, changing your body than Deepak Chopra. And that one, you're talking a Harvard-trained doc, so he was totally in the system. So some medical doctors do, but most of the medical doctors are so entrenched in that matrix of the medical education that they don't know any different. So fire the doctor if he wants to give you a drug for a symptom. Keep questioning and ask him what the source of the symptom is. And if he says bad luck or bad genes, don't walk out of that office, run out of the office, okay, because there's good doctors out there. Well, that looks like the last of the questions, and God bless you. This webinar, you could refer your friends and family to it so they can listen to it in the future, but I am honored, absolutely honored, that you spent this time with me. God bless and good healing.